videos. I'm in the midst of a very interesting situation. And so everyone runs into all kinds of unique situations in their lives. And I've discovered that I'm no different. Life is good. Life is crazy. Life is weird. But life is good. It is a journey. And that's honestly the best way I can describe it. Let me clarify a couple of things. Not that I think you care, but I'm going to clarify it for my own sake too. It has seemed to me that no matter what subject we as humans study or think about or elaborate upon or philosophize about or testify of, it doesn't matter what subject we are involved in, there is always going to be people who just disagree. Hey, we're human. That's something to learn. That's something to recognize and realize. As human, we really... Oh, sounds like the cows are up here in the hills with me. As humans, we really are finite. I've been studying mathematics, for the last several months anyway. I've gotten myself through 3 or 4 algebra books, and I'm working through 3 or 4 more, and I've learned some trigonometry, and I keep peekabooing into calculus because I have always wanted to really know how to do calculus. I mean, not only are the symbols cool, but the ideas are just mind-stretching. Fascinating, fabulous mathematics of calculus. Newton and Leibniz and Cauchy and all of those guys. Thank God they were here to give us this fantastic new insight into understanding how the world works and of giving us the means and ways of actually calculating it. Of understanding an aspect of our world, of our reality here physically, not only the world, the universe, the cosmos, the ultra small down into the quantum level. I keep jumping back and forth between my algebra books of actually just doing number crunching, you know. A couple weeks ago I was working on absolute values, and now I'm learning the Cartesian coordinate system and how to graph equations and how to graph functions. In calculus I've been learning how to take the limits of functions and equations and so on and so forth. It's great stuff. All those years of doing apologetics I kept putting the math off. I said, well, it's not that important. What a fool I was. Not that apologetics is bad, but putting off the math, that was stupid. I'm kind of kicking myself in my own butt for doing that. I'm really enjoying math. In fact, I have another YouTube channel, one that I never really did anything with, really. And I really think I'm going to begin to do a series of math videos starting with algebra. I've learned so many cool ideas about algebra that has helped it simplify it for me that I never got in school. And I really think it's very helpful. It's progressing me along faster than I ever did in school, by far. And I think I'm going to start sharing those with you. For the first time in my life, I've actually begun to grasp trigonometry. It was always just a subject that just eluded me. I never could fathom it. I could not put it together. But I found some ways to grasp it. I now am beginning to get it. And of course that carries off into the calculus also. Calculus, the derivatives, the integral. That's not that difficult. I'm really surprised that the more calculus books I look into and read, I'm understanding the material. Sometimes I don't quite grasp it, so I have to put it away for a few weeks and keep plugging away on algebra, but it's coming along. I'm not renouncing anything. And you know, it's inevitable, I suppose, when you discover that your certainty, that your truth really isn't what you imagined it was. My suspicion is, at some point in people's lives, everyone runs into this. This cognitive dissonance that we're even told by some people to, oh, take your saucy doubts and fears and put them on a shelf in the back of your mind. Don't confront them. Just put them away and continue living in faith. You're being cheated by being taught that stupid view, in my opinion. I've been confronting my doubts, been trying to work through some things. I haven't renounced anything except certainty. We're finite beings. We only live, 75, 80 years? Way longer than Neanderthal, which, interestingly enough, the Neanderthal, I just watched a program on this, 400,000 years ago, we Homo sapiens began to intermix with them. We all have between 0.5 and 3 to 5% Neanderthal DNA in us. Did you know that? They've got the Neanderthal genome completely figured out. Took them 4 solid years of research. They've got it. They have our human genome figured out. They have discovered, through testing thousands of people, that we all have Neanderthal DNA in us. They go back 400,000 years. This is beautiful proof that we are directly related to the Neanderthals from 400,000 years ago and earlier. That's fascinating. The creationists are just simply out to lunch. I am to the point to where I don't even see the reason to pay attention to their silliness. 6,000-year-old Earth, you know, we're unique, we're special, we didn't evolve, we're not part of this ecosystem of nature. Oh, yes, we are. We are unique, but we're not the way the creationists say so. Hey, neighbor. People out enjoying the drive in the night. That's what I'm doing. Hey. In studying infinity, well, the great German mathematician Hermann Weyl said that mathematics is the science of the infinite. And I'm trying to grasp my mind around this. Well, calculus is absolutely the mathematics of the infinite. When you do calculus, you'll see that. Trust me, you will run into infinity. And its very close cousin, zero. Two of the most paradoxical, heart-stopping, mind-boggling concepts. Here's the interesting thing. The perfect, beautiful coherence. The way math just step by step by step interlocks, and it's beautifully logical and consistent all the way through. The operations we learn when we very first learn math, add, subtract, multiply, divide, things like that, how to work with fractions, decimals, etc. Man, that carries all the way through up into the calculus and beyond, systematically the same way, with the different formulas and laws of, well, taking the limits, same thing with the derivative, the integral, the trigonometry functions are the same throughout, whether you're doing trigonometry or calculus, etc. So this beautiful logical consistency of mathematics and how it relates to reality. I mean, this place we're on right now, here, now, Earth. Fantastic. But here's the thing. A man named Byers, I believe his name is William Byers, wrote a book, How Mathematicians Think. One of the absolute most fabulous books on mathematics I have ever read. It doesn't have a lot of difficult calculations. It's describing the process of creativity. How come math finds such a powerful resonance with our world? How come we really can calculate speed and distance, momentum and spin, gravity, quantum physics, how the electrons interact with each other in the atom, how the different chemicals elements combine, not only to form us, but this camera that I'm using, my truck that I drive, this rock that's behind me, the sky that's up above me, the clouds in the sky. It's just so marvelous and fantastic. But what drives the creativity in mathematics isn't the logical, smooth, step-by-step consistency. It's the ambiguity in it. Now this is a fascinating thing. Hey, neighbor. He's giving me a funny look. He's wondering, what is that guy doing up there standing in the rocks talking to a camera for? Oh, dear. The paradox, the ambiguity, the contradiction. Mathematics runs into this all the time, according to Byers. Brand new, I think it was 2007. I don't have it with me, darn it. I should have brought it. His contention is the driving force in our ability to overcome the ambiguity in mathematics, the contradiction. How can an equation equal an infinite number of solutions, when we all know that mathematical equations only have one correct answer? Logically speaking, 2 and 3 is 5. Duh. Talk about genius, huh? Yeah. 9 minus 4 is 5. There are mathematical equations that have an infinite amount of answers. Others that have no answer. Some of them only have one answer. How can this be? This ambiguity in mathematics is what drives us to find solutions beyond the paradoxes that we find in mathematics. Now, nothing is more paradoxical. I got news for you, man. Nothing is more paradoxical in mathematics than zero, the nothing that is. Nor is nothing more paradoxical and problematic than infinity. These two, man, I should have set up farther away from the road, for Pete's sake. It's a beautiful night. Everyone's getting out and enjoying nature before the next snowstorm. Grief. We're going to have a frost tonight. What's the date today? What is the date today? May 23rd, we're going to have frost tonight. Talk about ambiguity of Mother Nature. Isn't May supposed to be the warming up month? June's right around the corner. We're almost at the summer solstice, and we're not even out of the frost. Ah, the joy of being in the Rocky Mountains. Now, what was I lying about? Oh, yeah, the ambiguity in math. In many ways, Byers' book opened up a possibility for me that I thought I had lost just within the last year. Now, this is irony. This is pure irony, man. The intense study of religion, the intense analysis of faith, the intense need, the desire we have for faith. We want certainty because, quite frankly, I may not even live long enough to produce this video on the YouTube. There's no guarantee. I don't know when I'm going to die. Neither do any of you. There's no guarantee we're going to be here tomorrow. We're uncertain about so much. But we crave certainty. That's why mathematics, you know, the great philosopher Bertrand Russell, at age 11 studied Euclid. What a lucky dog. Man, I wish at 11 I'd have had my head on right, so I'd have studied Euclid. I have studied Euclid, but not when I was 11. And he said the reason he loved Euclid, the reason he turned to mathematics after Euclid, is that desire for certainty, that need for real knowledge. And boy, did that thirst take him off into a fantastically productive, useful, very accomplishing, wonderful life. Fantastic to read his stuff. And yet it has ambiguity. It has paradox. It has problems. There are blatantly ridiculous contradictions in the calculus. And the more I peek into this, the more I see this. And it takes your breath away. You go, can you do that? You mean that's allowed in math? You know? But the idea of the ambiguity is not to suppress one side of the contradiction and elevate the other one as the truth. That's the wrong approach. What mathematics has done, what the mathematicians do, whether they like it or not, and boy do they argue back and forth. I mean, they hate their guts with each other at times. You know, George Cantor, the founder of set theory and the counter of different infinities, it's a great read if you can read George Cantor's stuff. Well, his nemesis, who was his one-time teacher, Kronecker, he was a real jerk. He fought Cantor tooth and nail. In fact, he made him go mad. He made him go insane. He made his life a living hell. And yet absolutely all of us now, using the calculus, we use George Cantor's set theory. Mathematics wouldn't be possible without set theory. George Cantor really opened it up. He didn't open it up by suppressing part of the contradiction or the paradox. And he didn't open it up by saying, oh no, there is no paradox. He saw the paradox. He saw the ambiguity in the problem, and he said, how can we overcome this? Every paradox is a challenge for us to dig deeper, to really examine what we think we know, and to embrace the entire paradox and go beyond it into a greater realm of truth and reality. Now, this is the essence of the creativity in mathematics, according to Byers, who is a great mathematician. I believe his book was by the Princeton University Press. I wish I'd have brought it tonight, darn it. Byers' book, though it deals with mathematics, and he deals with a lot of the contradictions of quantum physics. The electron is not a thing. It's not material. It's a particle, and when we say particle, we think of like a particle of sand. We're wrong. It's not that kind of a particle, but it's a localized. It's right there when they look at it. So the electron is a particle, but it has waves. Matter has waves, yes. And the electron, even though it's localized as a particle, when you explore that part of that electron, is also a wave that's spread out through the entire universe. And you go, come on, dude, you're talking science fiction. No, I'm talking quantum physics. It's a bizarre ambiguity. But instead of just beating the hell out of them and killing them all who said that the electron was a wave, and it's only allowed to be a particle, it is by embracing the paradox of the particle and the wave duality that we have now come into greater understandings of further aspects of the quantum physics that we wouldn't have had otherwise. maybe the idea that I have come to doubt so many things in my life at this point. I have a genuine skepticism about a lot of stuff. In fact, I am agnostic about a lot of stuff now. I really am. No, I'm not an atheist. The atheist view is far more powerful, however, than I had ever supposed. When I finally did the honest thing, and I actually bothered to read a dozen or more of the atheist books and to see what are they saying about God, the Bible, religion, spirituality, things like that, I was stunned at the power of their arguments. Now, does that mean they have the final word and they're right? Not necessarily. But I've at least done the honest thing and I've read them. And now I understand them better. And I can see how people who are overly religious and overly zealous in religion don't understand the atheists, let alone their arguments. So now I know that personally. And maybe because of the ambiguity of reality, fundamental reality is ambiguous in the quantum level. There's no question about that. Well, relativity completely changed our idea of the cosmos. There's no question about that. And that's the unfinished revolution. We still don't quite grasp the full implications of that astonishing insight, and it has been supported scientifically. If you run across people who say, well, Einstein just guessed and that relativity is unproven and all that, horseshit. They haven't read the stuff. I've been reading it. In fact, I'm reading it carefully enough now that that's part of my desire for learning the mathematics so that I can work the mathematics of relativity. But in the process of finding the ambiguity of doubt and faith, you can't have one without the other. It's fascinating that instead of suppressing the doubt, by embracing it, I have discovered that I'm able to study other subjects with a vastly more clear mind. I am thoroughly loving studying mathematics. I'm stunned by how fun it is. Yeah, I know. Sure, you're a nut job. Nobody studies math for pleasure. Well, unfortunately, I do. Fortunately, I do. It's a delight. I find something new, and it is just stunning. I create my own mathematical equations to test whether that's really holds or not. It's a ball. It's fun. But because I'm no longer stuck in just the faith-only paradigm, but I have some doubts, I'm able to rub those two together, push and pull back and forth, test them, analyze, see which one is best and which one is worse, and embrace them both. And I don't know how to explain that. I don't know if that's even possible, but that's what I'm doing at this point. And it actually fascinates me that that is how I'm feeling, is this combination of doubt and faith strike me very strongly in religion right now. But this combination, this paradox as it were, this ambiguity of doubt and faith is really striking me in my mathematical studies also. And it's really striking me in my study of physics, even though I'm not very far along. I really can't do physics very well yet, but I'm working on it. This is a fascinating, almost a contradiction, but it's how we move forward. A life full of faith with no doubt stagnates. That's the paradox that I'm discovering. A life full of doubt and no faith stagnates. It's a combination of the incongruity. It's a paradox. It's ambiguous, I agree. It's not clean-cut, dried, logical, and consistent. I agree, I understand that. It's contradictory. I understand that. But so is the very basis of reality. It might just be that on our level, the ambiguity has to be understood and embraced and said yes to for us to move forward. Isn't that weird? I think that's fascinating. That's what I've been pondering for the last couple of days since my last video. So that's what's happening to me. No, I'm not an atheist. But I'm no longer just an apologist either. You know, you get the one extreme of the pendulum and then the other extreme of the pendulum. You know, the Nicomachean ethics of Aristotle, there's got to be a middle way that embraces a little bit of both. You know, it's ambiguous that water is so soft it can conform to any container and you can drink it, and yet it can be so hard that as a great big chunk of ice, it can kill you dead. Is it soft and liquid and wet, or is it hard? Yes. Is it solid or liquid, or is it even gas, vapor? Well, yes. See, the contexts determine it, even though if you look at it, it can be seen and understood as just contradictory and therefore wrong. But nature is contradictory, but that doesn't mean it's fake. It doesn't mean it's wrong. It doesn't mean it's not here and that it's unreal. It just means maybe through the ambiguity, through the paradox, is how we discover a greater, higher truth. And perhaps that's what I'm experiencing. I mean, I'll be honest with you. I'm not losing sleep at night. I'm not wringing my hands worried about, oh my gosh, I no longer believe in some of the things that I used to believe in. What am I going to do? Oh, God is angry. I'm in trouble. No. I'm simply processing more information through my brain, trying to analyze the larger context around and including the paradox to see if there's something higher. Just like we do in mathematics, just like we do in physics, and just like we do in religion. So this is fascinating to me, and that's what I wanted to share with you. So anyway, thanks for letting me ramble. Thanks for wasting a half hour of your life with me while I ramble to you, and you get to roll your eyes and say, what a nut job he is. Yeah, well, I knew that already. Tell me something new. So, remember, have a great life, and I will see you in the next video.